How much cash flow do we have on this property? 0. Okay, so if you learn nothing tonight, if you're brand new, I want you to understand people use the word cash flow incorrectly in real estate. Cash flow is what I can put in my pocket and go take my wife for sushi. People use the word income and they replace it with cash flow. Income is not cash flow. What I think I'm going to try tonight, I've done something different in every meetup, is I think we're going to try and work some of Jack's leads to show you guys how I would structure them and how I would ask questions. And then we as a group can kind of figure out what's the best approach, and maybe somebody wants to jump involved, maybe they don't, we move on to the next deal, I don't know. What's the first one Jack, can we talk about one of these deals without talking about the address? Okay, cool, so tell us about the deal.
Well, it's a house that I own, 3 bedroom, 2 bath. It's on Oakland Road, it's right around 1,000 square feet. I would be willing to sell it on contract for a hybrid sub-2 type of deal. We'd be right around ARV when complete would be 130, 135. Right now it's getting a little bit of work done. We've just got it painted. It got a new roof last year. A new closet got built. Floors got redone. I'd be willing to take offers on it. I'd be willing to, whoever's ready to do a deal, it's something I'd be ready to talk to folks on.
Okay, so it's a deal that you already purchased.
Correct.
And what do you want to sell it for?
I would sell it right now for $115,000.
Okay, so how would I make money?
We would structure it to where you're putting $10,000 or $15,000 down. That's going to be.
So you want me to keep this as a rental?
I would probably keep it as a rental. Correct.
Okay, got it. Okay.
I would go midterm, short-term rental on it.
These guys in Iowa like to use the word on contract a lot. They're the only state in the country that uses this phrase, by the way. Nobody else really uses this phrase other than like some other smaller states. This state is amazing, by the way. I'm selling it on contract means I could be assigning the deal and it's a cash transaction. I've heard it used that way in this state, but most of the time I'm selling it on seller finance, but I hold the deed. What Chuck is saying, all right, Chuck, did you buy this property cash?
Correct.
Okay, so you bought this property cash, you've owned it for a while. You would sell this for $115,000.
Correct.
And you currently hold the deed to the property.
Correct.
Cool. So Chuck has the deed. What is the deed in real estate? The deed is the certificate of ownership. Whoever holds the deed or has control of the deed or has rights over the deed is the owner of that property in essence, okay? So what he's saying is, Chuck is saying, look, I don't like this house anymore. I got other things I'm working on. I'm busy. I got other projects. I'm doing the thing. This property has actually become more of a nuisance for me and more of a distraction. However, a distraction for you is not a distraction for maybe somebody else, right? It might be
Correct.
a good project for somebody else.
Correct.
This is where I asked, do you own it cash?
Gotcha, my bad.
Okay, no problem. So you have an existing mortgage on the property at $60,000, and that mortgage is with what bank? Okay, so you're the underlying mortgage. Okay, cool.
My money, personal money.
Okay, personal money. This is a personal note. I love it.
It's Farmer State.
And
Sorry. That
Farmer
was
State.
through Farmer State Bank.
Okay, cool.
My family-owned bank.
No problem. Don't be sorry. This is awesome. You're telling people, hey, I'll sell this to you for $115,000 on contract, which means I will allow somebody in this room to buy this. Let's just call this person the buyer for $10,000 down payment. Cool. So check. I'm going to you and I go, hey, I want that house for $115,000 as my purchase price. $10,000 I hand to you. You would then finance the remaining balance to me of $105,000. Is that correct?
Well, it would be a hybrid deal, right? So
Correct.
It would, yep.
But you guys like to call on contract, which just means you're not going to give me the deed.
Right.
Would you give me the deed?
I mean, if it made sense.
They won't allow it.
I would, yeah.
They will allow it. They just don't know they'll allow it. In their documents, it says, hey, it's a breach of contract, right? It has a due on sale clause, right? That's what you're worried about, the acceleration clause?
I would consult with Connor and then the TC that I've used in the past, Lily.
Okay, cool.
So they'd help get it right.
So it doesn't matter either way.
Right.
Okay. The only reason I like to have the deed in my name is because in the past, I've bought a property on contract, as you guys would call it, or on hybrid. Let's just say in this situation, I bought it on seller finance, deed goes in my name. I prefer that method for me as the buyer, especially if I'm putting up $10,000. Why? So I bought a property on contract, Chuck, one time. And what happened was the seller of the property died. Guess who has the deed?
Seller?
His estate. Is that good for me or bad for me?
Not good.
It's not good because now his children who are entitled or feel entitled, they say, hey, we're going to contest this contract with our father because we feel like you got too good of a deal. So now they hold the deed, which now they have control of, and I now have to sue them for control of that deed, if that makes sense.
Correct.
Whereas if I bought the property and I took the deed, I put it in my name, this is why I like sub 2 better than on contract. On contract is basically, it's kind of like Diet Coke of creative finance. Like, just give me a straight up Coke. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're gonna do creative finance, like, why are we playing this game? Just give me sub 2 or straight seller finance. But let's not worry about that, who has the deed, who doesn't have the deed. Let's just talk about it as just a seller finance deal. This would be a hybrid where you would keep this in place. What's a couple of transaction types I can do that won't upset this bank, as if the bank would even find out? But let's go through a couple of transaction types. What's one?
What type of transactions can we do?
Yeah, we could do a hybrid. You
Yep,
already
we
brought
can
it
do a
up.
hybrid.
I like how you said how you say hybrid. I like that. Hybrid. What does that mean? It means I'm going to have a payment to the FSB loan, and then I'm also going to create a loan to you.
You're gonna have a
right,
second.
2 separate loans.
Yep.
Okay. What's another way I can take control of this property?
Triple net lease.
You could do a triple net lease.
Triple net lease.
Triple net leases are not usually used on single family properties, but
What about maybe novation or?
a novation is mostly for a temporary duration, so that would be like for a fix and flip. This would be a lease option.
Lease option.
Okay, a lease option would be way better. If you're worried about, let's say, the bank, you're like, oh my gosh, the bank is going to find out, and there's the due on sale clause and the acceleration clause and all those things I'm worried about. Well, why not just do a lease option?
Right.
Right, so we could do a lease option. A lease option gives me equitable interest over the property, which means I can basically prohibit you from selling the property, refinancing the property. I could prohibit you from doing a lot of things, and I could then execute my option later down the road, right? We could talk about that for 4 hours. But the terms of this deal, let's talk about the terms of this deal. I put $10,000 down. Let's say I structure it as a lease option. Because it sounds like people in Iowa don't like the acceleration clause. They want to follow the bank civil.
Play it safe.
Yeah, they want to play it safe. I like it. So I do a lease option. I give you $10,000 as an option fee. You're going to finance me at $105, correct?
Correct.
Cool. What would my payment be on this existing $60,000 mortgage? You already have it in place. What is the payment?
I want to say off top it's around $550.
Okay, cool. Ballpark figures are perfectly cool. So we're at $550 for that underlying mortgage.
Yep.
And what's the interest rate on it?
Probably like a 6.5.
Okay, so not a great one, but
Yeah, not great.
cool. So I'm at $550. That means I have another $45,000 that you're going to sell or finance to me. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And what would my payment be on that $45,000 to you?
I would at least want, let's say, $500 a month on a
Okay.
5 to 7 year term.
Okay, love it. Okay, cool. So he wants $500 a month towards this. Okay, awesome. So if I've got $550, does this include my taxes and insurance as well, or is this just principal and interest?
That's everything, but that's everything.
Okay, that's everything. Cool. So my total payment to the bank and to you on a monthly basis, somebody in the audience, is how much money? $1,050. Okay, so let's say I could rent it for $1,400. So for a $10,000 chunk of money plus closing costs, so I'm going to be into it, I don't know, 13 grand. Will I have to do any renovation to get a tenant in this property? Would I have to come up with any more money, or is this turnkey ready to rent at the $1,300 or $1,400?
If you bought it and closed today, there's minor work, but it's currently being done. Let's just say by the time it closes, it's turnkey, ready to go.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. So I'm $1,400. My gross money that I'm making is $350. Let's multiply that by 12. I would make, what is that? Let's just say $3,500. Let's just say roughly $4,000 a year in income. Okay, 350 times 12. What is that number? I could be close.
I think you're right.
$4,200. Cool. So I'm at $4,200. Now, Connor and Tomas, gross income that I get on my cash flow does not mean I actually get to take that paycheck home. Is that correct?
Correct.
You have a lot of tenants that beat your properties up. You got to repair things, vacancy, all that kind of stuff. And so, in fact, sometimes your cash flowing properties don't ever pay you, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the way I would look at this if anybody's looking to buy a rental. Would you be okay putting up, let's say $13,000 in cash? What's cool is, what's your application process? Do I have to give you a credit check and go through all the things?
It wouldn't be as strict as the bank.
So the answer is yes, but not as bad.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is the bank of Chuck. There's so many lessons here, by the way. If you want the best possible deal, should you go through Chuck or should you go to a seller that is not going to ask for a credit check? Okay, and we'll, if we can, did we figure out a way to pull up a list and a web domain or a laptop?
Yeah, we got it.
Oh, we did? Okay, cool. So we'll do that. I'll show you guys how to find some of these sellers directly, which is what it sounds like Connor and these guys are doing, and even Chuck maybe. Okay, who's a buyer in here? Who wants to build a buy and hold portfolio in here? Okay, cool. I know you do. You and I are partners on stuff. Raise your hand. Somebody else. Let me pick on somebody I don't know. I know you. I know you. Okay, I know you. I don't know you. I haven't built a relationship with you. Do you mind if I pick on you a little bit? Okay, you're going to be my buyer in like a fake world. Okay, Dan, right? Okay. So Dan, are you good putting up $13,000 in cash to get $4,200 a year in gross cash flow? So I'm going to say the number again, $13,000 out of pocket to get $4,200 a year in gross cash flow. Okay. Man, people in Iowa don't want me to give me $1,300 or $1,500, and they also don't want to give me yes or no. It's possible. Does that get you, let me ask it a different way. I got to figure out how to work the Midwest a little bit. Does that get you excited?
Not super, but.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to pick on somebody else. Holy moly. People in Iowa don't want to hurt people's feelings, I think. So $13,000 I don't think is that exciting, and I'll tell you why. For me personally, I think this is a good deal for somebody other than me. It's a good deal for somebody because not only am I going to get some cash flow, I'm not losing money, but I do know that that $4,200 that I'm going to make on this property is going to go back into that property every year. So at the end of the day, after my management and after like vacancy and some repairs, how much money am I really making at the end of the year? Do we all kind of agree with that? Cool. So this is a property that's not going to put money in my pocket yearly. I can't pay my cell phone bill with it. I can't pay my car payment with it. It's not a free cash flowing single family property. Are we following me here? Is this helpful? Do you guys like this? Should I keep going? Okay. However, as Chuck knows, that's not the only reason we buy property, right? There's other reasons why we buy property. So
Absolutely.
on my cash flow, there's 5 reasons why we buy property, right? The first reason we buy property is for the cash flow. Do I have cash flow on this property, yes or no?
Little.
The answer is no, because after management and CapEx and a little bit of repairs and vacancy, let's say that my tenant moves out at the end of the year, right? I have a 12-month lease. I have $4,200 left over at the end of the year between what I paid and what I have them paying me. I have $4,200. That tenant moves out. Do I have another tenant move in the next day, or do I usually have a month or a month and a half until the next tenant moves in? Got to wait, right? So I have a payment that I'm going to pay out of that $4,200. And is the carpet going to be perfectly clean? The house is going to smell good, and nobody smoked weed in this house, correct? You guys don't have weed in Iowa, correct? You don't? Okay. Not in your neighborhood, probably. Okay, so do we agree that I'm probably going to put that $4,200 right back into the property at the end of the 12 months? Do we understand why this property does not cash flow? Yes or no? Okay. Okay, so on the cash flow side, let's ask the question again. Cash flow is what goes in our pocket. Okay. How much cash flow do we have on this property? Okay, so if you learn nothing tonight, if you're brand new, I want you to understand people use the word cash flow incorrectly in real estate. Cash flow is what I can put in my pocket and go take my wife for sushi. People use the word income and they replace it with cash flow. Income is not cash flow. Income is money that comes in, kind of like your guys' paychecks, right? What's left over after I pay all my bills and my groceries and my this, that, and the other, that's my cash flow, the money that I can use for other things, right? Cool. So what's the second reason why we buy property, guys?
Appreciation.
Okay, and Iowa appreciates like crazy, right?
Pretty good, I think.
Right now, I'd say you guys have gotten some good surges. I think a lot of people are trying to move to this state because it's freaking awesome and it's affordable. What would you say is your state's average appreciation?
I think last time, I may be crazy, Connor, I think I looked at like 13% last time I was looking at it.
Let's
Cedar
Google
Rapids.
it. Can you, Connor, pull it up and go, Cedar Rapids average appreciation last 5 years. That's probably not the right number because you had COVID in there. Dang, y'all are freaking appreciating market all of a sudden. That's awesome. Okay, cool. So let's say I hold this property. This is important for you guys to do. If you're ever wondering, how do I calculate whether this is a good deal for a rental or not for me? This is the exact process I go through. I do not use a spreadsheet. I go through this exact process. A lot of times I actually, on my team, we go through this exact questionnaire with a whiteboard and a Sharpie or a marker. We do not jump into a spreadsheet and over-calculate. This Kentucky windage is good enough to get somebody to say, yeah, let's deep dive a little bit more. 7% per year. I always look at a rental property and I say, I'm going to hold this thing for at least 5 years, typically. Okay? What will I make over 5 years if I buy this thing for $115? What will I make in appreciation on this property over the next 5 years? By the way, that's compound. So think about that. That 7% is a compounding 7%. So let's take 115, multiply that by 1.07. What is that number? Okay, so in 5 years, this property is going to be worth $161,000. Does that sound about accurate for this property? Cool. Okay, I'm telling you right now that if you paid attention to me, delete what anybody else has ever told you about buying a rental property. I promise you this is the gospel truth. Everything that you learn besides what I'm telling you right now is an absolute fabrication. This is the way you should think about buying a rental. Here's what I mean by that. People go, oh, look, I made $161,000 on this deal. I bought it for $115, I sell it for $161 5 years later. How much money did I make? This is where the trick comes in. I bought it for $115, I sold it for $161. What's that math? Okay, so $46,000 is my appreciation over 5 years. Are we all on the same page here? But I sold it, didn't I? Who pays the real estate agents? So I'm the seller. So did I really make $46,000? You see how people get these numbers wrong and they start telling, oh, this is a great deal, it's this, that, and the other. I think this is a deal, it just isn't for me. It is definitely a deal, Chuck, just FYI. So $46,000, when I sell this for $161, what am I going to pay in commissions and closing costs and all of that kind of stuff?
3%.
Okay, let's say 10%. So let's take 16,000 bucks off this thing. Well, Pace, why 10%? You're going to pay maybe your agents, your wife, she's 1%. Okay, because when I sell the property, I have to have a tenant in it. I'm sure that the property is going to be perfectly clean and ready to sell on the retail market, right? Do you see how there's all these things that just ding you on these little single family properties? So that 10% is all inclusive to get it market ready, pay the real estate agents, a couple of months of empty vacancy. Because while you have the house vacant, are you not making a monthly payment while the house is vacant? Okay, cool. So what did we really make here? We made 30 grand net in our pocket over 5 years. So is this currently a good deal? Yes or no? It depends on the person, right? You have to make that determination. Now, I could go to Chuck and I go, hey, Chuck, this is a no for me. How can I make money here? Could I go to Chuck and go, hey, Chuck, this is definitely a no for me, but if I found a buyer for you, would you pay me 5 grand? Okay, cool. So could I wholesale what I just structured with Chuck to somebody else? Yes or no? Yeah. Okay, cool. I could wholesale it. There's definitely a buyer for this deal. It's not going to be me. What's another thing that I could do to change the way this deal is structured? What are my levers I can press?
You could maybe get creative on the down payment.
Okay, I could get creative on the down payment. I could maybe do less down payment, or I could do down payment over time. What's another thing I could do to get creative here?
You let me know.
Change my monthly payment to you.
There we go.
Right? I could do something where I go, hey, Chuck, I'll give you $500 a month, but I want $300 a month to go to principal and $200 a month to go to interest. And if I did that, I just made an extra $12,000 on the back end, didn't I? An extra $12,000 in essentially pay down on the mortgage. So now I'm at $66,000 rather than $54,000. So you kind of play around with these things until you get excited enough to look at the deal or you walk away.